Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A hypothetical description of a complex entity or process. A structure supporting or containing something. The underlying structure. Providing a factual framework for future research. A person who poses for a photographer or painter or sculptor. The president didn't have time to be a model, so the artist worked from photos. Construct a model of. Model an airplane. A representative form or pattern. A hypothetical description of a complex entity or process. The computer program was based on a model of the circulatory and respiratory systems. Worthy of imitation. Model citizens. Representation of something, sometimes on a smaller scale. A woman who wears clothes to display fashions. Something to be imitated. A model of clarity. Someone worthy of imitation. Every child needs a role model. The act of representing something, usually on a smaller scale. Create a representation or model of. Form in clay, wax, etc. Model a head with clay. Assume a posture as for artistic purposes. Plan or create according to a model or models. A type of product. His car was an old model. Display, clothes, as a mannequin. Model the latest fashion. A hypothetical description of a complex entity or process. A system of assumptions and standards that sanction behavior and give it meaning. Formulate in a particular style or language. Make up plans or basic details for. Frame a policy. Construct by fitting or uniting parts together. Baseball. One of 9 divisions of play during which each team has a turn at bat. The hard structure, bones and cartilages, that provides a frame for the body of an animal. Take or catch as if in a snare or trap. The innocent man was framed by the police. Enclose in or as if in a frame. Frame a picture. A framework that supports and protects a picture or a mirror. The frame enhances but is not itself the subject of attention. The internal supporting structure that gives an artifact its shape. Alternative names for the body of a human being. A structure supporting or containing something. An application that divides the user's display into 2 or more windows that can be scrolled independently. A single drawing in a comic strip. A single one of a series of still transparent pictures forming a cinema, television or video film. Enclose in a frame, as of a picture. One of the 10 divisions into which bowling is divided. The framework for a pair of eyeglasses. Artifact made by weaving or felting or knitting or crocheting natural or synthetic fibers. The fabric in the curtains was light and semi-transparent. The underlying structure. It is part of the fabric of society. A tentative insight into the natural world. A concept that is not yet verified but that if true would explain certain facts or phenomena. A scientific hypothesis that survives experimental testing becomes a scientific theory. A belief that can guide behavior. The architect has a theory that more is less. A well-substantiated explanation of some aspect of the natural world. An organized system of accepted knowledge that applies in a variety of circumstances to explain a specific set of phenomena. True in fact and theory. A tentative insight into the natural world. A concept that is not yet verified but that if true would explain certain facts or phenomena. A scientific hypothesis that survives experimental testing becomes a scientific theory. A message expressing an opinion based on incomplete evidence. A proposal intended to explain certain facts or observations. A tentative insight into the natural world. A concept that is not yet verified but that if true would explain certain facts or phenomena. Capability of existing or happening or being true. There is a possibility that his sense of smell has been impaired. A possible alternative. Bankruptcy is always a possibility. A future prospect or potential. A structure that serves to support something. The people in a society considered as a system organized by a characteristic pattern of relationships. Sociologists have studied the changing structure of the family. A particular complex anatomical part of a living thing and its construction and arrangement. He has good bone structure. A thing constructed. A complex entity constructed of many parts. The structure consisted of a series of arches. Give a structure to. I need to structure my days. The complex composition of knowledge as elements and their combinations. His lectures have no structure. The manner of construction of something and the arrangement of its parts. Artists must study the structure of the human body. Particle physics. A theory that involves an 11-dimensional universe in which the weak and strong forces and gravity are unified and to which all the string theories belong. A theoretical sun that moves along the celestial equator at a constant speed and completes its annual course in the same amount of time the real sun takes at variable speeds. A statistical process involving a number of random variables depending on a variable parameter, which is usually time. Astronomy. Copernicus' astronomical model in which the Earth rotates around the Sun. Particle physics. A theory that postulates that subatomic particles are one-dimensional strings. Representation of something, sometimes on a smaller scale. The act of giving a false appearance. Computer science. The technique of representing the real world by a computer program. A simulation should imitate the internal processes and not merely the results of the thing being simulated. The act of imitating the behavior of some situation or some process by means of something suitably analogous, especially for the purpose of study or personnel training. Computer science. The technique of representing the real world by a computer program. Astronomy. Ptolemy model of the universe with the Earth at the center. A raised framework around a hatchway on a ship to keep water out. A decorative framework to conceal curtain fixtures at the top of a window casing. A molding at the corner between the ceiling and the top of a wall. Furnish with a cornice. The topmost projecting part of an entablature. An inclined metal frame at the front of a locomotive to clear the track. Rough edge left by a deckle on handmade paper or produced artificially on machine-made paper. Paper making, a frame used to form paper pulp into sheets. A framework erected over an oil well to allow drill tubes to be raised and lowered. A simple crane having lifting tackle slung from a boom. The frame that supports a door. The frame that supports a door. A frame made of 2 hoops, used for embroidering. A frame made of 2 hoops, used for embroidering. An inclined metal frame at the front of a locomotive to clear the track. A barrier that surrounds the wheels of a vehicle to block splashing water or mud. In Britain they call a fender a wing. A cushion-like device that reduces shock due to an impact. A low metal guard to confine falling coals to a hearth. A framework that supports and protects a picture or a mirror. Formulation of the plans and important details. The framing of judicial decrees. Framework consisting of an ornamental design made of strips of wood or metal. A framework of steel bars raised on side supports to bridge over or around something. Can display railway signals above several tracks or can support a traveling crane, etc.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.